Hi everyone. In today's video I'm going to show you how to stencil using CAD CAM. By that I mean computer aided design to computer aided manufacture. Could be a laser cutter, 3D printer. In this case it's the GS-24 CAMM1 machine. So to begin with we're going to start in Adobe Illustrator. So we go to File New, and I want to start with an A3 document in landscape, so that's the size that I'm going to be working in. Here we go, and here's my document. Control minus to zoom out, Control plus to zoom in. So now I'm going to bring in my reference material. Here I have some crates from some different whiskey companies from the past, and because most of my reference material is font based, I'm going to dafont.com, and here you can see there's a huge variety of different font types. If I scroll down, you can just see a very small sample of what they have to offer. And because most of mine are stencil based, I want to go to the stencil versions. Now some of these are army based, which isn't going to be so useful for me, but I found a couple which I like the look of, and this one's called Butler. There we go. And you see if I click on it, it opens the sample, and then I click Install. So to get to that, you have to click the download button in dafont.com. In this case, this font actually has several different types of the same kind of font. You can see the download buttons there in the middle there. And if I go to the middle of my document, I can start by just simply typing in. There we go. So my reference material is all about whiskey, which is what I'm going to be doing. Now the nice thing of course about Illustrator is that 1 minute I can treat it like a text, and the next I can treat it like an object, and I can use the Alt key to keep the proportion and drag it out. So if I right click and then go font, I can pick the font that I've just downloaded. There we go. And now it's downloaded locally just to your computer. I'm really pleased with that one. I think that looks really authentic, very old-timey. But I want a few more as well. So I've downloaded these other ones as well. There we go. And you can see after a little bit of time, I laid out the different words, the information that I want to include. And now I can play with the different types of fonts. So right click and go to font and then pick the ones I want. I can also use this drop down function. It means I can't actually see what the font will look like, but when I know what it looks like anyway, then that's fine. And again, utilizing the fact I can use it like an object, treat it like an object, I can drag it in and play with different shapes and proportion. There we go. So I've spent a bit of time on it. Didn't want to show you every single iteration. And I wanted to reflect the Jameson font on the right hand side in my reference material, which of course is on an arch. So I am using the type along a line tool on the left hand side. It's the little T that's following a path. So this is really useful. You draw any kind of shape and it will follow along. So again, after a little bit more time, you can see I've changed the font and played with it. And now I'm just adding some diamonds to sort of look a little bit like the dots from my reference material, and just to frame it and finish it off. Okay, so now I'm taking it into 2D design. When I copied it across, the lines and the diamonds were lost, which is why I'm just going to recreate them now because it's not too much of a bother. I'll just go through it quickly. But the reason that we need to put it into 2D design is because that is what the GS-24 recognises. Now I know there is an ability to actually use Illustrator documents, but we don't have that facility, so we just pop it across into 2D design. And of course all my cut lines are in red, and if I had any engraving lines they would be in black, but because this is just the thickness of the card, there aren't going to be any engraving lines. The other really useful benefit of transferring it over into 2D design is that actually you just recognise it as different lines. No longer sees it as a particular font, which is actually a benefit because, as I said, the fonts are downloaded locally to your computer, and if you transfer them to a different computer, which you have to do, then it won't recognise them and they will be lost. So putting it in 2D design is useful as well. So here I'm just going to copy my line. Don't make extra work for yourself if you don't need to. And a little tip, if you use grid lock, you can snap it back into its original position, drag it down like so. And I just need to finish off with a couple of diamonds just using grid lock. I'm just going to make them 10mm square. But this time I want to rotate them, so I've left this in to show you how to rotate. So I want to go to Draw, Transform, and Rotate 45 degrees. Of course, that makes it from a square to a diamond. And then just lay them out until I'm happy. So I just want to, last thing is make sure the alignment is good and even be as careful as to use the dim lines tool to check dimensions and keep them the same distance from the centre. There you go, to move them across, and here's the finished product. So now I've put it into the computer that's set up for the GS-24, and I want to go to Drawing, Layout, and Set for CNC Device. And now I'm going to pick the GS-24, of course. There we go. And you can change the sizes and setups here, but it actually has a standard A3, and we need to click Use Registration Marks. That's really key. Now you can see it's created this grey border box around the outside, and the 3 black registration marks, which are really key. So everything's a little bit big at the moment, so I'm just going to right click, so select all, Control A, and right click to keep the proportion, drag it in so it stays within that grey border, and I haven't lost much of the size, so that's absolutely fine. And I need to print it now with these registration marks, or else it doesn't make any sense, it doesn't work. So I'm going to go to the D4 sharp, and I'm going to go to Landscape, and of course it's A3, so you have to scroll up for A3, there we go. And the paper source is tray 4, that's, as of recording this, that's the setup that we have. So A4 is card, just make sure it says A3, and use the paper tray setting, so it should all be ready to rock and roll with that one. And then we go. Okay, so now it's going to print it. There we go. So here we have our large piece of card with some low tack tape. So the idea of this is that you can stick things to it, but that you can peel them back off again. So here I have my design. I'm going to place it fairly central and really smooth it out. Make sure it's adhering to that low tack tape. There we go, like so. Now we're ready to put it in the CAMM1 machine. Okay, first of all I need to come in, and it says sheet unloaded. Just send it back to the beginning if it's not there already. So we're going to feed this in. Now the wheels must always be in line with these white dots. So because this is a larger piece, I've put this one here and this one just under here, probably just about see. Now you want them outside of the registration marks, that's really important, otherwise it doesn't see it. If you put them inboard, then it doesn't recognise everything outside. And you want to push it in until the registration marks are roughly in line with the centre of here, because that's where the sensor is, like so, and then I can lock it. Now we're ready to go. Up here it says roll, I'm going to click enter. and it knows where to start roughly because the wheels are in the way. Now back in CAD, we want to set it to output, so we're going to go to File, CNC Output. Now we want it set for the GS-24 if not already, and all selected. Then we need to go to Tools. So I've already done one today, I've had a bit of a practice, but I'm going to reset the speed to 45 and the force at 250 is about right. As the knife dulls, sometimes it creates a bit more pressure, you need a bit more, but 250 has been good at the moment. And then Output. Now I'm going to send it to Output, File, CNC Output, Output, and now it's going to look for the registration mark. It's going to take a few seconds. And it's found the first registration mark, so it's registering the first one. It's going to pass all the way across, find the second, and then the third. And now it's going to start cutting. So that's looking pretty good, and we'll come back in a sec. So it's closing in on finishing. A couple of things just to note: it doesn't generally like very sharp corners. It likes more organic shapes, more curves rather than sharp corners. It tends to chew those up a little bit. If you find that your work is being really chewed up, could try slowing down the speed. That often helps. So here we go on the last word now. One or two spots I can see where it's chewed the corners a little bit, but we'll make the best of it. And now you can see it's all done. So it finishes, and then we can release the clamp, take it out, and shut it off. There we go. And there it is all cut out. You can see in one or two spots where it's just chewed a little bit, where it's gone back on itself, but we can try and tidy those up. Okay, the very last thing that we need to do is to remove the blade. So just lefty-loosey remove this little guy. The blade pops out, so you can see, come on, zoom in, come on. So you can see how tiny that blade is just there, so that's obviously the holder for it. And we also want to take out the little nut as well, just in case it goes missing. All the way off, there we go. And then both of those are going to go in our little container, and we're done. And here comes the moment of truth. So we should be able to peel it off, and quite a bit is left behind. So you're ready. Do be gentle as you do it, because you don't want to tear it now. So you can see how the low-tack tape works really well. There we go. And you can see there, already haven't got too much to pick out. Come back in a sec, see what it looks like. So you can see it's been really effective. It's taken me a lot less time than if I had to cut it all out by hand. Now there are one or two little areas that I just need to touch up. So with a cutting mat and a scalpel, or obviously a craft knife, I'm just going to cut free any areas that just need it. Just taking my time. I can also use a scalpel to actually lift parts up, like so. There we go, so that's not too bad. I think that will suffice. And this bit here. There we go, might need a tiny bit of tape on that one just to keep it down. There we go. And I might just look to see if there are any other little spots that just need a bit of a tidy, like in here. And then to finish off, I spray painted it outside in our area, taped it down, and here is the outcome. I'm really, really pleased. So I hope that was useful. See you next time. Bye.